In the rich tapestry of 1970s sitcom characters, few figures embody the archetype of the endearing underdog quite as perfectly as Bob Morton in this episode of One Day at a Time. Part 3 of our exploration turns the spotlight fully on this sweet shy boy next door whose quiet courage forms one of the emotional hearts of the story. Through careful scene-by-scene analysis, we discover how the writers crafted Bob not as mere comic relief or a disposable romantic foil, but as a fully realized young man whose vulnerability, sincerity, and growth illuminate deeper truths about masculinity, self-improvement, and the quiet strength required to navigate the uncertainties of adolescence in 1970s America. Bob first enters the narrative with a hesitant awkwardness that immediately wins the audience's affection. His conversation with Anne Romano reveals a boy who has spent considerable time gathering courage to even inquire about Barbara. He admits openly that he cannot dance, a confession that in the social arena of a 1970s high school dance might have seemed like social suicide. Yet Bob delivers this admission with self-deprecating humor, referencing his father's advice about self-confidence and even joking about being an accident. According to his sister, these touches humanize him instantly. In an era when popular culture often celebrated the bold, athletic, or rebellious young man, Bob represents a gentler, more introspective model of teenage masculinity, one that values sincerity over swagger. The script excels in showing Bob's thoughtfulness through small but meaningful actions. When he visits the Romano apartment, he helps set the table and peels potatoes without being asked, demonstrating a willingness to contribute to the household. These domestic gestures stand in stark contrast to the more self-centered energy of other characters and subtly foreshadow his capacity for genuine care. His persistence in asking Barbara to the dance, even suggesting he wait in the bathroom while Anne acts as intermediary, reveals both his deep shyness and his determination. The line "I get all tongue-tied" resonates universally with anyone who has ever experienced the paralyzing fear of rejection during one's teenage years. What makes Bob's character arc particularly moving is the transformation he undertakes after Barbara accepts his invitation. Learning that she has said yes, Bob immediately begins bettering himself in touching and earnest ways. He signs up for dance lessons, committing to learn the bump, the hustle, and the foxtrot at the considerable cost of $7.50 per hour. This detail anchors the story firmly in its 1970s context, when such lessons represented both a financial investment and a significant emotional one for a young person. He also purchases a new sports jacket with wide lapels, explicitly stating he did not want to wear his old one when accompanying Barbara. These efforts are not flashy or performative, they are quiet acts of self-improvement motivated by a desire to be worthy of the girl he admires. The script handles Bob's vulnerability with remarkable sensitivity. When speaking with Barbara, he confesses that he is usually shy around girls, but that she brings out the macho in him. Delivered with a self-aware laugh, this moment captures the sweet awkwardness of a boy trying to step into a more confident version of himself. His admission that his car might not start and that he is terrible at conversation further endears him to viewers. Rather than presenting these flaws as liabilities, the episode celebrates them as part of Bob's authentic charm. In 1970s America, where the cultural conversation around gender roles was rapidly evolving, Bob embodies a transitional figure, respectful of traditional courtship while embracing personal growth and emotional openness. The dinner scene provides one of the episode's most layered comedic and emotional moments involving Bob. Positioned between the arrival of the more confident Cliff and the mounting tension in the household, Bob continues to display grace under pressure. His willingness to help mash potatoes, and his polite demeanor even as the situation grows chaotic, demonstrate a maturity beyond his years. When Cliff dominates the conversation, Bob does not retreat into bitterness but maintains his dignity. This quiet strength becomes especially poignant later, when Barbara attempts to confess the truth. Bob's response, revealing that he has met another girl in dance class with whom he shares common interests like photography, shows remarkable emotional intelligence. Rather than lashing out or playing the victim, he releases Barbara with kindness and even a touch of gentle humor. This development in Bob's character arc offers a profound commentary on resilience and adaptability. The script suggests that true courage is not the absence of fear or insecurity, but the willingness to act despite them. Bob's journey from the boy who could barely ask Anne about the dance to the young man taking dance lessons and gracefully accepting romantic disappointment illustrates personal growth in its most relatable form. In the broader context of 1970s youth culture, where many young people were experimenting with new identities amid social upheaval, Bob's story provides a counterpoint to more dramatic narratives of rebellion. His is a quieter revolution, one of incremental self-betterment and emotional honesty. The historical backdrop enriches our appreciation of Bob's character. 1975 marked a period when traditional notions of manhood were being challenged by the women's movement and changing economic realities. Single mothers like Anne Romano were raising sons and daughters in new family configurations, and young men like Bob were navigating expectations that no longer fit neatly into previous generations' molds. The episode gently affirms that qualities such as kindness, effort, and self-awareness hold enduring value even as social norms shift. Throughout these scenes, the writing demonstrates exceptional nuance. Bob's dialogue never feels contrived or overly sentimental. His humor, self-deprecating, yet warm, feels authentic to a shy but intelligent teenager. The contrast with Cliff is never reduced to a simple good versus bad dichotomy. Instead, the script allows both boys to represent different valid approaches to teenage romance, with Bob's sincerity ultimately shining as particularly admirable. Barbara's affection for Bob, even as she is drawn to Cliff's charisma, underscores his genuine appeal. She describes him as nice, considerate and friendly, noting that she would not have accepted if she did not want to go with him. These affirmations from the object of his affection validate Bob's worth beyond mere pity. The episode thus avoids the trap of portraying the shy boy as inherently undesirable, instead celebrating his many fine qualities while acknowledging the powerful pull of confidence and social status. As the story progresses, Bob's graceful handling of the situation contributes significantly to the episode's emotional resolution. His decision to attend the dance with the girl from dance class whom he describes as sharing his interests and learning alongside him offers a hopeful message about finding connection through shared vulnerability rather than polished performance. This resolution feels earned and satisfying, providing closure not only for Bob's storyline but also reinforcing the episode's themes of honesty and personal growth. In examining Bob Morton, we discover one of the quiet treasures of One Day at a Time. He represents the many young people who navigate adolescence not through rebellion or charisma but through earnest effort, kindness and the courage to improve themselves. His character adds tremendous heart to the comedy, reminding viewers that behind every awkward teenager lies the potential for genuine strength and grace. The writer's affectionate portrayal ensures that Bob is never reduced to a stereotype. He emerges as a fully dimensional character whose journey resonates across generations. The episode's handling of Bob Morton ultimately celebrates the value of quiet courage in a noisy world. In 1970s America, amid cultural turbulence and changing family dynamics, characters like Bob offered reassurance that sincerity and self-improvement remain timeless virtues. Through his arc, One Day at a Time delivers not only laughter but also a gentle affirmation of the many ways young people find their path to maturity. Bob's presence enriches the entire ensemble, providing emotional ballast to the more chaotic elements of the story, while offering viewers a character worthy of genuine investment and affection. His story reminds us that sometimes the sweetest romances and most meaningful growth happen not in grand gestures but in small determined steps taken with an open heart.